So Tom set the opening today. If you read this slide, it says, do you hiding your work? I actually would have said it differently. I would have said, do you not hiding your work? Because he presupposes you might not. I presuppose that you do. We're going to talk about what hiding in your work looks like and why it's so important to your success to think through this. All that and more on episode 847 of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Good morning, Tom. How are you?
I'm well, Bob. How are you doing today?
I'm well. And I should get the disclaimer out of the way right now. We are recording today's episode, so I think we may be wearing the same clothes I think I am. And that's because we have a conflict. And that's going to mean one important thing for you. If you write a comment, we are not going to be able to put it on the broadcast. However, it'll appear in the comments on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever you watch this lovely broadcast. And we will be happy to respond when we get a chance later today. We always read the comments and we always respond.
Does this mean that we are doing something else to hide from in our work, to hide from this?
Good question.
Or do we do this every day to hide from work?
You got me speechless.
You're really happy already so far today. We better move on or else it'll be a pretty quiet show. Anyhow, welcome everyone to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast. Each week, Bob and I pick a topic and we have a conversation around that topic. This week's topic is Workaholic. Had some great discussions yesterday, Tuesday, and Monday, so you might want to go back and check those out because it might help provide some additional value and give you a sense of where we're at and why we're having this conversation this week.
And where you may be at, you the viewer, listener.
Yes.
Not where we're at.
Could be where we're at.
I'm in the Baltimore area. Where are you?
I'm in my basement. All right. As we go through that conversation, we would encourage you to share your thoughts and ideas as well. So please put comments in the chat. As Bob mentioned, we are recording this, so we won't be able to share them. And those who are listening, watching this later, will be able to gain that value from it. So please feel free to share your thoughts and ideas. At the conclusion of the conversation, Bob and I will each share our one thing, our today's antidote, that thing that we hope will help you figure out how to take your next step. If you feel like you might be hiding in your work, or maybe you wish you were hiding in your work, or something else which has you lacking a little bit of confidence, maybe feeling a little bit stuck, and that everything around you seems like it's chaos and confusion. Our goal is to help you make some clarity around that so that you can have confidence and control in all that you do as you try to grow your business. So if you also have an antidote you would like to share, please feel free to share it as well. Because we know that there may be people out there who have been told what we are saying or what you are saying, yet they just have never heard it until you share it with them. So please feel free to share your comments. Prior to diving in that conversation, though, each morning, Bob and I start the day off with our celebrations. So, Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I am celebrating that I got to finally talk to Michael Kittner.
Wow.
One of our frequent listeners. Yes.
Awesome.
He reached out to me and we had a really great half-hour discussion.
Nice.
He's super cool.
He's a cool dude. He was a cool dude way back when.
David fighting Goliath.
Yes,
and do a big dust up with GoPro. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately lost a patent suit, but some other parts of it are ongoing.
Nice.
And truly entrepreneurial at his core.
And maybe a little bit of a renegade too, I think.
An absolute renegade. Yes. He totally inspired me. He really did.
Oh, really? I like
yes.
that.
Yes. He's great. Really great.
Good guy, no doubt.
So there you go. I mean, that's one of those connections that you make through putting your value out there, as you would say. We had common language, and we had common. It was easy to get into a discussion because he kind of knew me and I kind of knew him through just the interactions on this program.
He has been a regular commenter.
He has. He has.
Did he talk to you about style?
No.
Okay.
I didn't go there.
I figured.
And at the rate I'm going, I probably won't go there. But you never know.
You never know when those things happen.
No.
Anyhow, cool. I like that celebration.
Yeah.
It makes me happy that you guys connected.
Yeah. It's great. How about you?
So this morning, a little bit later, I get to channel my inner Bob Graham.
Whoa.
And pretty much teach in front of a group of college students.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to share my value. And I know I talked about this yesterday on the show. So if you listened yesterday, that I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I have found clarity. And what was fascinating is that some of my clarity and some of the things I'm going to talk with them about, which might be with college students interesting. See how this goes. I got to talk with my partner about it, see if they're comfortable with it as well.
Okay.
Sharing the idea that there is no right or wrong. There's only what's real for each of us. See how that goes over with college students.
Wow.
Oh, that'd be fun. I might not last through the first session. They might kick me out.
I can't wait to see it or hear about it.
Oh, yes. So I'm excited about that. Looking forward to it. It's the first session of 7 throughout the summer.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Fun. All right. So let's hit the topic. We can't hide anymore.
Well, we probably could, although.
So as we've been talking through this all week, it occurred to me more than once that over the years, I've been really good at hiding in my work. And I think I learned it when I was a kid, believe it or not. When I was in high school, we had some family things, and I worked at a drugstore, and they needed someone to work holidays. And Thanksgiving holiday, it was like you got paid double pay, and you worked from like 9 till 4, so you missed all the prep for Thanksgiving dinner. You got the credit for working on a holiday. Oh, you're such a studious, industrious person. Wow, it's really great that you're willing to work on a holiday. Rolled in, had dinner, didn't have to deal with the chaos of the family thing. And I think that taught me at a very early age that you could hide from things you didn't want to do with your work. And I think I perfected that over the years, to my detriment. As I look back on some situations, I can specifically think of things where I could have probably confronted something, and instead I opted to work on holidays, nights, weekends, just days that I probably could have taken off because I just wasn't really wanting to deal with things. And I don't think I'm alone. I think there are people that hide because they don't want to be around their family. They don't want to deal with their kids. They don't want to deal with a parent who's aging. They might not want to deal with the fact that they have a next door neighbor that's causing trouble. It can be anything and everything. And I think that's a part of workaholism that I never really thought about as seriously until we started talking about it this week. And I think it really has had an effect on my life. Like, I think you can even tell just by the way I'm talking through it. This is not the bubbly me. This is the insightful, oh boy, I wish I could turn back time, as Cher would say. And unfortunately, Cher can do it, but the rest of us can't. I like the Taylor Swift references better myself. So what do you think about that, Tom?
If you are a Swiftie, you want to go back and listen to yesterday's because Bob found ways to share Taylor Swift's value yesterday on our show. It's interesting. I would agree that there are a lot of people who do, work can be seen as a place to go hide. There is no doubt about it. And, I think I know that I hid when I first moved to Baltimore. My family was still in Baltimore, or was still in Binghamton, New York. And my option was to go back to an apartment that was empty for 1 year. And then the second year it was to go to a room that I rented from someone in an old house that, I kind of felt a little uncomfortable anyway. And so it was easier for me to just stay at the office and work all days and hours of the time. And, and I think that in some ways had some value. I felt like I was, rather than being at home and feeling, or being in whatever my home was that I called at the time, and being frustrated that I couldn't be with my family, I was, gave me some relief, I guess. And I think that's that's the other side of this coin is, sometimes we need that relief. We need a respite from the outside forces that may be creating challenge for us. And that sometimes that can.
I think I was doing it for 30 years, so I think that might be a bad example. That's probably longer than you're saying. You might need relief in the short term, but
maybe not. Maybe there are just things that we feel like we've gotten to a point, and there was no other thing we could do. That became the choices that we made, and. And in some regards, you probably could look back on some of that and say you got a lot of real work done by doing that.
I think the employer would look back and say, "Thank you so much."
Well, so there's
so happy you wanted to hide.
Well, I think that's the thing, right? Is that sometimes what we're hiding from provides us value in other ways, at the same time that is detracting from something else. I think that's the crux of this issue is, and the workaholic issue is the choices that we make, and why are we making those choices, and what's behind all of those things. And if we could truly step out of ourselves and see it, which we can't, we might think of things differently. You might not have been able to understand that at the time, even if somebody said to you, which probably somebody did. It's like, why are you working on holidays and weekends? And you were just like, this is what I need to do to get my business to where I want it to be. This is what I need to do to make my employer happy with where I'm at, so that maybe I get a promotion, maybe I don't lose my job, maybe, all those things that you think are a priority at that time.
Yeah, I don't remember ever making a choice. I remember it always being work, work, work. Well, and I think that's where I am, where I've grown is now it would be a choice. If you said, hey, let's have a meeting tonight at 8:00, I'd think about it, okay, I don't have anything else going on tonight. Yeah, I can do that. And I would also, on the other side of that, find time this week to balance it out and say, you know what, I work till 8, start at 7, work till 8. That's a long day.
Sure.
I might leave at noon on Friday and go play golf, or just sit and read, or do something. And I try very hard. I've got a commitment to myself now that at least one weekend day every weekend, I don't work at all. 0. Like yesterday was the day. Not going to happen. Had a client text me.
Is Monday a weekend?
Oh, well, it was a holiday. No, you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. I did not work at all Sunday.
Okay.
You're right, because we did our program yesterday.
Yeah, it's just.
But that's one of the things, a gift I give myself now. There's one day each weekend where I will not do it, and if I miss it in one weekend, I take both days the next weekend. And what I've learned that's so powerful is the world has not come to an end any of those weekends. Not once. I shocks me every time. I really thought that my involvement in doing my work was so important to the earth spinning on its axis that if I didn't do that, the spinning would slow down. And before you know it, calamity would come. Yet that hasn't happened yet. Now, I can't speak for this coming Saturday and Sunday.
Of course not.
But you never know.
Unless you've been able to figure out how to control the future. If you have done that, that's been great. Well, I think that it's one of those things, though, that unless you've done it, how would you ever know? if you were the person who never worked on weekends and never worked on holidays, there might be some things that as they look back now, again, with hindsight, and say, I wonder what would have happened if I went in that Saturday morning once a month, if I chose to do some extra work on a holiday. We never could know. And I think that's the piece of it is that kind of goes back to, a theme that we've been talking about pretty much for the whole calendar year around the judgments that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, it's as long as you're able to learn from it, helpful. You have clearly been able to look back and see and understand, here were some of the impacts of some of the decisions I made. Same for me. I can do that as well. Because I am willing to learn from it and figure out how do I leverage that going forward rather than just judging. And I know people who would spend the rest of their life judging the fact that they worked every Saturday morning. Didn't matter what it was. And if it was a weekday, they were working, whether that was a holiday or not. And that they now regret that decision. We can only make the decision we make in the time with the information that we have. And I think so often we do it thinking that this is the decision I can make today, given the knowledge, experience, and perspective that I have. And clearly, looking back now, we would likely do things different. Well, we can't turn back time, as you said earlier. And so all we can do is think about, okay, how do I leverage this moving forward?
I think one of the things I've seen in coaching some people as they get into the executive level, it's having someone like a coach being able to say to them, hey, wait a second. Why are you doing this Sunday evening? Oh, well, I always do it Sunday evening. Well, if you did this and this and this, would it be possible to do it on Thursday or Friday? And I'm surprised how many times when they start to have that outside influence on their time, they can get a lot more done in a lot less time. And sometimes I think I think some of the weekend work I did over the years was totally created in my head. It gave me the ability to be inefficient at work so I could come home and do it. And I would tell myself, well, I can't get anything done at work.
Sure.
I wasn't a shut the door person at work. I never was. And I think the people that were the shut the door people, they would shut the door and you'd be like, oh, they're in a meeting or whatever. You leave them alone, they get the work done, roll that at 5 o'clock, be like, done.
Yeah. I would bet that a pretty decent percentage of those people with their door shut weren't solely just doing work, real work.
Okay.
Now, I would say that there are a good number who were.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, they were like, I just need to get an escape from the world. And so I need to shut my door so nobody bothers me so that I can decompress. I can do something that nobody's going to question whether I'm doing it. I would imagine having been that person who I think has done that, be like, you know what? I've been working pretty hard, judgment. And so I'm going to close my door and do something personal during work hours. I would be not.
Well, now you have a lot of people working at home.
Sure.
So I think that's the other part of this. If you're working for another employer or for an employer and you're a leader, now you have that pull on you that the computer's at home. You took 20 minutes and you folded laundry. Now you feel guilty. And now you feel like you need to make it up. So you go and check your email at 6:30 in the evening while the dinner's cooking. And next thing you know, it's 7:30 and you burn dinner. Been there, done that a couple times.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think there is no doubt that that's a part of it. Although here's the thing, I think, having lived it and being able to see it through some other people's eyes, even through my own eyes, I think I was able to add value to others. So I know that after doing that and then having some time to sort of process it and understand it differently and get some further information and knowledge about what it was doing to my health and wellness and well-being, I was able to then do that differently at the next stop and share it with others. We used to have a rule that if you worked a late night or a weekend event, and we were doing those all the time in alumni relations, that I told people, turn off your alarm clock and get your rest. When you wake up, if you've got to go run and pick up some groceries or pay a bill or do something that you could only do during the weekday, go do that and then come in.
Right.
We're going to balance the extra work that you have to do with the life that you should be able to lead. And, that if you're the one who's always saying, oh, I can work that evening event because I didn't have any kids or didn't have any pets to take care of, I'd be like, okay, well, then you need to find some time for yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to burn out, and you're going to be because I knew what the result was of people who did that. And I could see it coming for them and wanted to sort of try to cut that off. So I think that having gone through it and been able to take something away from it and share that with others, now I can look back at it and be like, okay, now I understand differently. And sure, if I could go back and do it, would I do it differently? Maybe. And that information has been helpful to share with others.
So do you have your one thing ready to go?
No. Do you? You don't.
I do.
Oh,
I think it's around having the discussion with yourself about whether you're hiding when you're working additional hours. If you're working on a Saturday morning and your kids are down having breakfast with your spouse or significant other, that might be hiding for whatever reason. And if you choose to hide, that's fine. That's your choice. But I never made the choice. It was a one-way street. It was work, work, work. If I could go back and think about it now and say I should have probably thought through that and at least said to myself, these are the options. I never felt like there were two options. There was only one. And I think I regret that, not at least having the discussion with myself.
Well, and again, how could you know?
But now we've informed tens of thousands of people this morning.
Yeah, sure. Well, I would think that I think a lot of people do it and then they judge it. And I guess my one thing would be, don't judge it. Try to understand it. Try to figure out if you truly are making a choice or not, or just kidding yourself that you're making a choice, because the choice you always make is go to work. Then you might need someone else to help you see. For me, it was my doctor. My doctor, I remember it to this day. He says, do you want to dance with your daughter at her wedding? I said, yes. Well, you might want to change the way you're living, because I'm not sure you're headed in that direction right now. It was a pretty good wake-up call.
Yes.
And then sharing that with others. It used to be like a badge of honor how much we worked. And now I think we're learning that it's not that anymore. That it is, there is less value in it today. And hopefully more and more people are seeing that because they lived through it. They lived through that, and hopefully they're willing to share their value, as I like to say, so that others, may learn from it. They may have to experience it themselves because they can talk themselves into why I need to go do this. And it's not hiding. It's work I have to do that's a priority. Right. It's a choice I can make until, like you said, you find yourself that you're not really making a choice. The choice is already made, and you're just continuing to follow along.
I like it.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks so much for listening to this recording of it. It's just a reminder that Bob and I did record this. So if you have comments, that's why we didn't share it. But please feel free to share your thoughts and idea in the comments, because we know that'll add value to someone. We never know who. So we appreciate that. And if you're listening to the podcast, join us inside our Sculpt Your Business Facebook group, because if your business feels like it's a little bit chaotic and a little out of control, our goal is to help people figure out how to find that confidence and control so they can grow to the business to where they want it to be. So we look forward to seeing you inside that group. If not, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. ish Eastern time, for our next episode. for today's antidote.
Hey, until then, embrace the renegading you. It is so worth it on this beautiful Wednesday.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Go out and enjoy your day. We'll see you soon.